Yeah, everything around me.
What's going on, everybody? It's Coach Tatum here. Another coach's preview here. Today I have Coach Trotter, the head football coach at Pine Lake Prep. Coach, I really appreciate you coming on and talking to us and getting to know you and your program at Pine Lake Prep.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, so Coach, just go ahead and start a little bit about who you are, a little bit of your background in coaching. Be brief for as long as you want. Just kind of like some stops you've had, some influences on you.
All right. Started coaching football in 2002 at Lake Norman High School in Mooresville. We opened that program. I was there for 8 years. Actually took some time off from coaching, worked in law enforcement for a while. While I was doing that, I coached at Northside Christian. Had a life-changing event and had the opportunity to get back into coaching. And I went to Lake Norman Charter in 2018 as their offensive coordinator. And then after 1 year there, I was hired at Pine Lake to be the head football coach there. So I have coached every classification, 1A to 4A, currently public, private, charter. I kind of run the gamut for high school football in North Carolina.
Yeah. So talk about a little bit about your coaching philosophy, kind of things that you hang your hat on, what you want your program to be, what it be core values. I don't know if you have a slogan maybe you go off of, or just things that you want to stand on as a football coach.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be, obviously, like every coach, we're going to be sound fundamentally. Our guys are going to fly around. I mean, just coach speak, guys are going to fly around. We're going to, play hard. The biggest things for us is, and I actually had a conversation with another coach the other day about this, is we have to be adaptable. Especially where I'm at now, being at a charter school, and all that entails. We definitely have to be adaptable. We're going through that right now. We graduated 16 seniors, and those 16 seniors accounted for 8 offensive starters and at times 9 defensive starters. So, we have a major overhaul that we're having to do. So, my 4 years going into my 5th year, we've never ran the same offensive scheme year to year. We've always had to adjust and adapt to what we have, just because it's each year is so different for us. And the fact that this past year was the first time that we'd actually ever had a JV program, and we only played 4 games of JV. So again, being adaptable is our biggest thing. Is always just having to improvise and overcome, adapt to whatever gets thrown at us week to week. We don't have the slogans or the stuff like that, but for us, it's making sure that, our guys are prepared to play each week, that we know our assignments, that we know what we're going to do. We're going to play smart, sound football. And, we're going to play to our strengths. We're going to hide those weaknesses as best we can and just try to get our guys in good spots.
Yeah. So up to this point, all the coaches that I've had on, it's mainly been a lot of 2A and some 1A coaches. So talk about the struggles, and then talk about like some of the high points of coaching at a prep school. Well, Pine Lake Prep, coaching at a charter school. Excuse me. Talk about some maybe some of the struggles you have to get to kind of massage and get through, and then some of like the high points that come with coaching at a charter school.
Yeah. So for us, I can honestly say, again, having coached at every possible location that you kind of can in the state, charter school football is the hardest.
Yeah.
And the reason is because that, our number situation being what it is, we had 25 varsity football players last year. Our guys are playing both sides of the ball. So, we're playing small school football in the sense that, again, we had 8 or 9 guys that were starting on both sides of the ball. I mean, our quarterback was a starting free safety. Yeah. My first year here, we played a 14-year-old freshman center that was 5'9" and 170 pounds. Our quarterback was a freshman. We had 2 sophomores starting on the O-line. 2 sophomore receivers. I mean, we have to continually play a lot of young guys. I mean, a couple of seasons ago, we had the fall of 21. Our offensive line our center was a junior, our left tackle was a freshman, our left guard was a freshman, our right guard was a senior who had never played football before, and our right tackle was a sophomore who had never played offensive line before. And that's what we're starting with on a Friday night playing, varsity football, not JV. And it can be difficult at times to, our roster being, it's easier for people to leave than it is to get in to a charter school. They can go back to their home schools, they can leave and go elsewhere, but getting people in is incredibly difficult due to the lottery system. And we've kind of talked, me and you personally, about this, and then I've gone on and talked to some other people about this with everything going on with in legislature and all this stuff. But it's hard when you're if you're a small school in a rural environment, everybody's small.
Yeah.
When you're a small school and right next door to, depending on the year, either the largest or the second largest county in the state, and you're surrounded by schools that have 2,000, 3,000 students, the allure of going somewhere like that is hard to contend with at times. So, we've had some really, really good players that have left us to go to bigger schools and some have, excelled and some have gone there and it wasn't what they thought it was going to be. But those are kind of the challenges. It's just, well, again, and then we can get into the when you're at a place like we are, we don't have a practice field.
Yeah.
We have a game field. And that game field is shared by middle school and high school sports. So there's not a lot of flexibility when it comes to stuff. Getting coaches is difficult. My staff this upcoming fall, there will not be a single coach on our staff who is employed in the building. That makes things difficult, and trying to work around their work schedules. So now it's, hey, my O-line coach might not be able to get to practice until 4:45, 5 o'clock, and we practice from 3:30 to 5:30, 5:45. So it's we just got to make it work. And I know everybody struggles to find coaches, but it's really hard to, again, when you're surrounded by a lot of really big schools that everybody kind of gets drawn to, and then you're the small guy. There's some difficulties there, but there's also some really good positives too. So, you look at our team this past year, we had 25 varsity players, 22 of those played on our middle school football team. We can have that, we can have those guys that come up in the system and play together and, have been together for 6 years. Some of these seniors have played football for 6 years together. So, that's one of the big benefits is, we're able to kind of watch these guys grow from their 7th, 8th grade years in middle school. And then once they get to us at the high school level, let's just build some good, relationships with those guys. Because our middle school practices at the same time that our high school does. We split the field. They get from 40 on their end, we get from the 40 to our end. And so there's times I'll walk down there and just kind of observe their practice or just go, speak to them a little bit and just kind of be around those guys to go ahead and start learning them, even though they're not up with us yet. So, and while it's a charter school, it does kind of have a, good community feel to it. Typically have really great support coming out to our games. Students, are great, always out supporting. Administration's been really supportive of all that we've been trying to do. There's some things in the works that they're trying to, build for us and continue to help us grow the program. So, I don't have any complaints from that point. And I've been in places before where it's like, man, this administration's, I can't stay here. But, luckily here, I pretty much have, 100% confidence from them to do whatever we need to do. And so that takes a lot of stress off as a head coach, knowing you have an admin that's supportive and has your back and is looking out for your best interest and your team's best interest.
Yeah. So, and, Coach, you're a very humble guy, and I know you're not going to brag on yourself. So this is my show, and I'm going to do it for you. 25 kids on his varsity roster, no coaches in the building. still went 10-2 last year, getting after it. Like, very impressive. Like, you not a lot of guys can take what you have in the situation that you're finding yourself in and make it happen. And that's a testament to you and the guys you work with and the kids putting in the work, and getting after it. And I just want to, that's a huge testament to who you are in your program. I just want to say that.
I appreciate it. We had a special group of seniors. They came in with me, and so their freshman year was my first year at Pine Lake and my first year as a head coach. And I told them this, during our banquet and then during our big end of year sports banquet as well. That team, that class has been a part of changing the program. When I took over, the program was 28-38 overall, and we went 4-7 our first year. And a lot of those freshmen were playing, growing pains, getting those guys in there young. That next year, the shortened season, we went 8-1. Graduated a bunch of seniors. I know that we had like 18, 19 seniors that year. Graduated a lot of them, and then this class really took ownership as juniors, went 6-4, and then finished out 10-2. So, as a class, they're the winningest class in school history, and tied the record for wins in the season this year. So that class was special, and we're going to miss a lot of those guys, but I'm excited about some of our young guys that we have. Again, there may be some growing pains, having to play a lot of sophomores and maybe a freshman here and there, and some guys who haven't gotten a lot of reps in the past where we're counting on to step up. But again, they're buying in. They're just like the ones before them have. They've seen the standard that has been laid by that group that has graduated, and they want to uphold that. So,
yeah. All right. So let's transition a little bit. Coming out of spring, going into the summer now. What are your thoughts on how the program? Your thoughts, how you see it? Where is it at? What are some things you like, didn't like? Maybe you don't have to go into that, but kind of, how do you see going into the summer? What are you excited about?
So for us, spring is a little bit difficult. We get out of school. Our last day of school was actually May 27th. So when you factor in those last 10 days that you can't do anything of school, it really forces us into like a 2-week time period that we can get days in. And then, we still had guys, playing lacrosse and baseball. So for us, it was there were days that were like, we may have a quarterback show up. We may not, because they're playing lacrosse. We may have some guys show up, they're baseball guys. So we'll see. I had to, this year our staff has had a major overhaul. Hired a new defensive coordinator. My long-term right-hand assistant head coach has been with me since before I was even at Pine Lake, has hung it up and retired. So we've brought in some new coaches, some new schemes, some new philosophies that are kind of coming in. So really for us, spring was a chance for our new coaches to kind of learn our returning players. Get eyes on them, see what they can do, see how they're going to fit into what, like our D coordinator coming in. I mean, he's coming in from the college ranks. And so from him, there's that transition back to coaching at the high school level, and also, seeing what our guys can do and then trying to fit his philosophies and how he wants to run the defense in with what our guys' strengths are. So spring for us was really just a get to know you type session. I wanted to see how some of our guys had progressed. Obviously there's always kind of that sophomore to junior jump and then a little bit of a junior to senior jump. We kind of see more than really the sophomore to junior jump for us. So I wanted to see how some guys are growing and developing and to see what we needed to do, because like I said, we're replacing everybody but 3 offensive linemen on offense. Yeah. And one of those guys is sliding to a new position. So we got a lot of holes to fill. So we use that as just a chance to kind of throw a lot at them to see what was fitting, what we liked, what we didn't like. I gave them that first week of June off just because, we ended up that last week of May. Give them the first week of June. Be kids. Don't worry about football. Don't worry about school. Just sleep until noon. Whatever you want to do. And then we started up Monday. And again, it's for us, I have 50. I'm projecting 51 9 through 12th graders on the team. We had about half those guys show up this week. Again, a lot of them are on vacations and different things. And we go into evenings because of work schedules for our coaches. So a lot of times that's fortunately some of them that interferes with some schedules that they have, work and other sports that they play during the summer. So we'll see where we're at. Again, we've got a lot of holes to fill. We've got a lot to kind of learn and adjust, and I'm still trying to figure out the exact path I want to take with the offense. Coach King, our new DC, is excited about some of our guys and getting them in and seeing who's going to be able to step into what roles that he kind of has envisioned. So this summer is going to be interesting to see where we end up. And if you kind of look at how we've been in the past, we have a week 1 bye. It wasn't what I wanted a couple of years ago. It was because another team dropped us and didn't tell us, and it happened that way. But it's actually kind of been beneficial to us because it's pretty much an extra week of camp that we're able to get in there and kind of refine some things a little bit. And it gives us a full week after, we'll do 2 scrimmages, and then we'll have a full week to make whatever adjustments we need to make based upon those scrimmages to get ready for the following week having a first game. So early in the season, we're a little bit behind everybody because we haven't gotten that first game out from under us. But it does allow us a little bit more time to prepare and to get our guys where we need to be ready to play.
Awesome. Well, Coach, at our your level, and I'm a 2A, so a lot of our schools don't get a lot of shine, and that's why kind of want to do this. Talking to I'm gonna talk to all types of programs, but especially like at our level. Talk about some guys that on your roster that aren't getting any love, but you've seen them working, whether it be weight room or another sport, or coming out in the off season, like they've been working and they're going to have a great season. Kind of, if you want to highlight some of those guys, go ahead.
Yeah. So looking at the senior class first, got a young guy named Gabe Bolivar. He was our number 2 running back last year, and he's about 5'8", but about 200 pounds. His legs are daggone tree trunks, man. He's deadlifting well over 500 pounds and just super strong kid. Week 4 last year, we actually threw him in at defensive end in our 3-man front because I'm like, I got to find somewhere. He's too good of an athlete not to be on the field. So just situationally, we threw him in, and man, just with his stature, but burst and strength, he ended up, I think, 10th in the state in 2A in sacks, like 9.5 sacks last year and 8 games started. And then our starting running back actually got hurt the last regular season game. So the first week of the playoffs, he started and ended up with 140-something yards rushing, averaged like 8.3 yards a carry in the first round of the playoffs. So he's the guy that's going to take over the lead role at running back. And then if we look at the next, we got 2 guys. I mean, they're getting some attention, and rightfully so, but, they still haven't gotten that statewide attention that I think they could probably deserve. Jack Smith, the first one, he's an interior lineman, both sides of the ball. We're moving him to center. He's about 6'2", 255. He was actually first in the state for sophomores in sacks last year. He had 12.5 sacks playing nose guard in the 3-man front, had 30 tackles for loss, and I think he blocked 3 kicks. And then he's, like I said, he's playing defensive line and playing center for us. And then Ryan Conatillo plays outside of him. He's a 6'2", 220 edge guy. Plays left tackle for us out of necessity, but he's a defensive end. He was second behind Jack for sophomores in sacks. He had like 10.5 and 24 tackles for loss, and so those 2 guys are really getting after everybody. And then we got a lot of new guys that I need to see if how they're going to grow and develop. There's not a lot of guys returning that played a lot of minutes last year for us, but hopefully we'll be able to get those guys up to speed, and I could have a few more guys for you next year that we want to highlight. But I want to make them earn it first.
No doubt. Well, Coach, I don't want to hold you because I know you got practice tonight, but I appreciate you coming on and talking to me, kind of highlighting Pond Lake Prep, and hope people watching, kind of reach out to you and kind of, get to know who you are and follow him on Twitter. Coach he's got his handle on there, and like I said, Coach he's got a lot of things going against him, but he doesn't let it keep him down. and he's getting after it. And but he was very gracious to come on and talk to me and kind of learn a little bit about him. Coach, I really appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate you having us on, giving a chance to kind of highlight our program a little bit. Been a small guy in a big city at times. The big schools kind of dominate the coverage, so it's nice being able to get some more guys' names out there and all that. And yeah, I'm always up for anything. I mean, we've been air raid, power spread, art draws, coastal, pistol, triple, all kinds of stuff. So I'm always willing to share what we've done, film, anything like that anybody wants to. So I'm always available for that. But yeah, I appreciate you having me on, letting us do this. Good talking to you.
No doubt. See you, Coach.
All right, we'll see you later.
Yeah, everything around me.